Strider, Aragorn, the King, Magneto, Michael Fassbender. Go!
Welcome back to AsArt with Nick and John. We post 3 videos a week. Hit that subscribe button to stay updated. And links to our podcasts and all of our other fun stuff is at asart.space. Thank you, Bryan Seeker, for involving us in this epic Lord of the Rings deepfake recasting / awesome, precious, very, very awesome, Joss. Such a good casting. Like, we always have so much fun deepfaking Bryan Seeker's castings, but when you compare the face and overlay them, we're like, man, Michael Fassbender and Viggo, man, similar face shape, noses, and everything. Is like, wow, it's amazing how similar their faces are. It's just like, whoa, so awesome.
And obviously, aside from the character description in the books and the movies, it's not what he's not looking at face shapes, but he definitely did, because certain characters we've done, like if you look at, I think, Slughorn or some other people that we've done for Harry Potter and other characters, the faces, even if we do a pretty good job of seamlessly integrating the faces, the bodies and you know, the chins and the side, there's certain things like people are like, oh, it looks a little bit weird. We're like, yeah, because it's just the face that's being swapped out. It's not the whole head.
Yeah.
So in this case, there was actually one shot. It was a wider shot where I did have Michael Fassbender's head on there, and like, oh, it's not working. And then I forgot, oh, wait, that's not Viggo. That's actually the right character. So you know you're getting pretty close, or the characters swap is pretty well when the characters are that close and
yes,
visual.
Totally. And then the scene we picked, we try to pick something where his hair wasn't all over his face. There's so many scenes where his hair's over his face, and then some of the iconic
but
scenes.
It still was.
It still was. It's like, it's part of his character and everything. And then if you go later on, sometimes his face is really dirty because of the battle scenes and what's happening in the frame. So it was like hard to just pick like a good acting sequence, which is also like an iconic moment. And I thought we picked a good one though. I always like that scene in the Fellowship, and oh, so cool to see.
Yeah, it's a good scene because it really reveals. I mean, right now you don't know him much beyond being Strider. You don't know him as Aragorn or like, you know, kind of the guy who's going to be king. You don't know him as that yet. You know him as just this guy, and just had this whole run-in with Boromir, with Frodo, trying to take the ring, and then Aragorn pops up, and it's the first time you see like, oh, this guy has some willpower to him. He has more history and more kind of, not morality, but he has a stronger character. And so it's a good scene. And like Nick was saying, we couldn't pick out some of those cool scenes where he's all, you know, muddied up and bloodied up, because remember, we're training the replacement face based off of footage we can get. So unless we found a movie where Michael Fassbender had very similar facial hair, mud, blood, whatever, you're not going to get that. And even then, it's still kind of hard. Even just the facial hair in general is still very much of a challenge. But like you said, this was an iconic scene between he and Frodo, which you don't have many of them together because the Fellowship kind of breaks off.
Yes.
And so this was a fun one. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's jump in and watch it, and then we'll talk about some fun little twists and some things that were difficult to deepfake.
Frodo?
It has taken Boromir.
Where is the ring?
Stay away!
Frodo! I swore to protect you.
Can you protect me from yourself? Would you destroy it?
I would have gone with you to the end. Into the very fires of Mordor.
I know. Look after the others. Especially Sam. He will not understand.
Go, Frodo. Run! Run!
Let's talk about the facial hair, the beard.
The beard.
Like, I had such a hard time finding footage with him with facial hair because it was like you either get too much or you have the right amount of scruff, and it was just like
Now you're talking about Aragorn or Michael Fassbender?
Michael Fassbender, because Aragorn has like scruff on his face for all 3 movies, and then at the very end he has like a full-on beard, like Miracle Grow. It's like super thick.
Chia Pet, yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of difficult because there was a lot of good interviews with him, but I had to find similar like hair thickness too, because you can't do multiple different hair lengths and then like the deep fake and it'll just pop and be awkward. So we were very limited, but very fortunate that some of his X-Men movies he kind of has scruff, which kind of helped to get more of the emotional scenes.
Yeah, so there's a scene that Nick found where basically I think in the movie it's when his family, that he had kind of escaped the public light and his family is kind of being not assaulted but threatened, and he kind of has this kind of stoic look on his face, but he's a countryman at that point, you know. But the tricky part about that was that it had the person who did the color grade on that, and it fit the scene very well, was very, very bluish,
very tinted.
And even when I tried to adjust the color to get a more neutral color in certain spots, and not to point out the bad things about the deepfake, but at certain spots you can see little hints of blue in certain spots because the frames, the angles that it took to create his face actually had that color tinting still in there a little bit. So that was a big challenge, but that footage was crucial because, and you maybe listen to us talk about other deepfakes, if they're just doing interviews, which is usually ideal footage, they're not acting, and so you won't get any emotional type of faces for the software to learn. So that was really important that Nick found that footage. Yeah.
And then one thing we noticed too was we kind of had a slight cone head effect going on.
Yeah, he definitely had the cone head effect. Got it. Yeah. Not the worst we've had. We've had some way worse, but
But I think what doesn't help too is like the way his hair is parted too. Aragorn's hair is parted that way, and it just feels like it's just it's Conetti. It's
fun.
fine.
It's fun. There'll be some fun like fail ones. Even if we fix the shots for the final version, we're going to share some failed ones and some really surprising ones.
We had some good ones
too,
when he brought the sword up.
Yeah. His we won't talk about it yet. We'll have that in the fail video, but it should be pretty fun. But some things that were difficult in this, we'll give a little bit of the fails away. But so just some funny things is when we're cutting up the footage. So you run it basically through, you train the face and you replace the face, and we just put all the sequences together. There's some random frames of Frodo, so you get Michael Fassbender on Frodo, and he looks really, really weird because the color correction wasn't meant for that particular frame, and it's just... it looks really, really weird.
Really weird. Yeah. And there's some other deepfakes we're working on currently, and it jumps back to Frodo so often, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah, we're talking like porcelain doll looking freakiness, like really, really, really funny stuff. Yeah. But this one was tricky, and Nick took it upon himself for this. So I'm usually kind of running the deepfakes and getting things ready and doing the basic compositing. But Nick's like, you know what? So you get a basically like almost like a poster board face that goes on top of the original footage, and you can kind of shrink or grow out that edge and you blur it to kind of blend it in. But Aragorn has long hair and the way it's going through. So Nick actually took it upon himself and rotoing edges of hair, which hair tends to move around a lot, and then these little strands that go in front, he actually did those as well. And so it took a long time, but on my end, when he gave me that, he didn't tell me he was going to do that, but when he gave me that, like, oh, this actually helps out a lot, because one, you don't have a piece of hair that's starting and then just stops and isn't there in the replacement character, Michael Fassbender, but also the sides of the face, it just blends in a lot more smooth. And we ended up doing some other things to finesse that as well, but that was something that not the most fun thing to do, but definitely made a huge difference.
Yeah, it totally
like
pays off, especially
after.
on the side too, because the hair covers a lot, and the deepfake will give you like a point to like the chin. Yeah, and we had to remove all that, so you're gonna have to create a mask for that.
Yeah, and you can't just blur that edge, because then you'd have this hair just kind of disappearing and appearing, whereas obviously hair doesn't do that. So,
so you got to throw it back on
very
top.
Helpful.
Good old fun compositing stuff.
Yeah, so a lot of good compositing stuff that really kind of helped things. And one challenge we had as well is that we have some very, very close-ups of Aragorn. This is a really personal scene. This is between Frodo and Aragorn. It's like an intimate moment. It's not about battles or anything at that particular time. It's just dialogue. It's about their parting ways, they're understanding that. And the one thing, based on the graphics cards that you have, the higher end graphics card, meaning how much RAM it has, not necessarily speed, but RAM it has, the more high detailed of a face you can get. And that's also limited by the resolution of the footage you can find of the character that you want to replace. So if we had, say, 4K footage of Michael Fassbender where he was full frame, close up, then, and a great high-end graphics card, you can maybe get detail that would hold up really, really close. What we have looks pretty good. You can tell there's one shot where it starts up far and it slowly pushes in on his face to where you're like this, and you can tell it doesn't completely hold up. It works, but you can tell it's not the same resolution as the rest of the shot. So definitely some challenges, but it's always fun to see what you can get away with, but it still works. It's just, if you're looking for it, now that we told you, you'll probably be able to notice it. So
yeah. So check out, we have tons of deep fakes we've been doing with Bryan Seeker now. It's like a collection. We should do like a collection video, but we have some great characters from Harry Potter, Snape, Professor Umbridge, Professor Slughorn. Now we're on the Lord of the Rings. We are Frodo, Aragorn, and some ones coming up. Bryan Seeker casted the guy from
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, and also from 1917. It's so funny because me and John, if you go back and you watch our 1917 review video, I'm like, man, this is so much like Frodo and Sam. Like,
and then Bryan Seeker ended up casting him as Sam. We're like, oh, well, that fits. And that's another character that looks very similar, that fits the character very well. I mean, obviously body type right now. I mean, he force fed Sean Astin a lot of what Peter Jackson did, to get him to bulk up and gain weight for that role. So it's going to be fun, though. It works out really well.
We already have some stuff going. We did one quick little look at it while it's processing right now, and we were very impressed with it. So we're excited to get that one done for you guys. So if you guys subscribe, you guys will get updated to all of our deepfakes. And also by subscribing, it helps us to want to make more deepfakes.
We're about a lot more than just deepfakes. Deepfakes is something that Nick kind of ended up corresponding with Bryan Seeker. It's something we're enjoying doing because of Bryan's good casting choices. But that's not what we started off doing. That's not the only thing we want to do. So we have a lot of other content. So if you're here from Bryan Seeker, check out all of our other content, because there's a lot of fun stuff that we end up doing and that we want to do, and we're open to suggestions as well, because this is AsArt. It covers anything artistic. We want to be able to get into all kinds of different avenues. So let us know in the comments, and we'll continue to do what we do. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the deepfake, and we'll see you on the next AsArt.